Hi, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Anokhi Uncensored Show. I'm your host, Raj Girn, the founder of the umbrella brand Anokhi Life. I'm coming to you today as the world is abuzz with the release of the fourth installment of the uber successful Matrix franchise, the movie The Matrix Resurrections, hitting theaters on December the 22nd. I had the distinct pleasure of chatting with the fabulous Priyanka Chopra Jonas about her role as the grown-up Sati. She shares why her role was pivotal in the overall plotline of the film, how the film spoke to many relevant themes like choice, fantasy versus reality, the power of love, and the plight of the human condition to seek personal transformation.
Hi.
Hey, Priyanka. This is
How are
Raj
you?
Girn for
Hi, Raj. How are
Anokhi.
you?
I am so well, sweetheart. Oh my gosh, I haven't interviewed you since 2013.
Yeah,
I'm
it's been a while.
so super excited to have this conversation with you. I want to actually begin by saying that what a cool way to be a Desi doctor on the big screen as Sati.
I didn't even think about that. That's true. That is true. But I don't know. I don't know if she's just a doctor. I think
Yes,
she's a
and
little,
I stand
little bit
corrected.
more.
I stand
She's a
corrected.
little bit more than that.
She definitely is. So let's talk a little bit about Sati here, Priyanka. She is described as a young woman with a knowledge that belies her years and a capacity to perceive the truth, no matter how muddy the waters. So this is, basically what is said about her. So for those people, I mean, me being Indian, I have to bring this in to our conversation. Sati means such or truth in Sanskrit. So to connect the dots for people who aren't familiar with its origins in Hinduism, the goddess Shakti, also known as Sati, is considered to represent truth. So, Priyanka, I want to ask you this. How pivotal is Sati's ability to see truth play out in the overall plot line of the film? Like, why is it important?
So what happens in this version with Sati and how she sees the truth and follows the truth and shows the truth is something that you'll have to watch in the movie. But what I can talk about is if you think about where Sati was left in the previous movies and knowing that, she's a program that was created and she was placed in the care of the oracle, and the oracle said that she's special because she has the ability to create peace between man and machine, between human and machine. So that's where we left Sati's journey. And you're very right, Shakti, she was created, Sati is a program. She could have been deleted, if she wasn't placed where she was. But she's here for a very specific reason, and you'll see that reason play out in this movie.
Absolutely. Well, the main theme of the film and the series in general is this kind of idea behind fantasy and, reality. Like, where is the fantasy and where's the reality? Is it in kind of the perceived world that we live in, AKA Earth, or is it reality actually that's inside of the kind of the computer programming? So I want to ask you this. The central character Neo, obviously played by Keanu Reeves, really goes through this kind of journey of fantasy versus reality, and you as Sati have a very pivotal role in that. And I know that you can't share a lot about it, but what can you share in terms of why you feel her role is so pivotal in kind of this truth telling or maybe fantasy versus reality story? Like, what did you get from that?
Well, first of all, I think the Matrix itself is, I don't think, and the Matrix means something else for everyone, but to
Yeah.
me, it is not about fantasy and reality. I think to me, it's about choice. It's about consciousness. It's about what is your reality and what is your personal matrix. We're the center of all our universes, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
idea of the Matrix. It's like what is real and what is not, what is perceived reality. And that's what I love about the Matrix series, is it questions all of those things. And I think Sati's character was very deliberately, specifically placed in the previous movie to sort of circumvent situations that happen in this one.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm curious as to why you felt that this was a role that you needed to say yes to. You've done some amazing roles throughout your, 2 decades in the world cinema. What was it about this particular role that you felt, I feel that this needs to be for me?
Are you kidding? I would have played a table if I had to in The Matrix. I would just sit there, be like, "Oh, The Matrix, yes." Yes, because it's the Matrix franchise, and I'm super honored to be a part of, a legacy franchise like this that I grew up on, that all of us
Mhm.
grew up on. I think The Matrix shifted pop culture, and I, as an actor, get the opportunity to be a part of that, and especially to play a character that, it's a huge responsibility to take on Sati's role. She was left in the previous movie in a very ominous way, as a little girl, and I had to figure out who she became as a young woman. I had to figure out, what her purpose is and what is the reason she is where she is. And I worked with Lana tremendously and depended on, like, really leaned on Lana to figure that out with her. But it was wonderful to not just work in this incredible franchise and play such a character of responsibility, but at the same time, to be with this incredible cast and get an opportunity as an actor to, take my craft and my career forward. So in every way, it was a beautiful check in the box for me.
Absolutely. And, the role of Sati, I was watching you play this character and I was thinking, my God, your lines were so complicated, like massive words, long sentences. You got to tell
Matrix
me how,
words.
right? Like, how did you prepare? Like, how did you memorize that?
Well, just to throw something even more difficult into that, I had to say all my lines in the movie, which is like, I don't know, 40, 45 pages or whatever, in one sunset.
Oh
So
my
I had
gosh.
45 minutes to speak all of those lines, everything in the whole movie in one sunset, because that's what we were establishing in San Francisco when we were filming it. And that was my first day of filming. So I'm standing across the entire cast and, Keanu and talking about Carrie Ann and like Yaya and Jessica, everyone, and saying these Matrix words, and it was terrifying.
Yes.
Not just because the words mean so much, but they're hard. But at the same time, to do it in front of this prolific cast,
Mhm.
and that was my first shot that I gave in the movie. It was
Wow.
terrifying. But when I got done with it and everybody clapped and everyone was like, "It's great," that's what you work for as an artist is, you bring your A game.
Mhm.
I'm always prepared. That's something that I do for every character that I play. I think preparation is the first thing that you need to have whenever you have any task in front of you. So I'm very much about prepping. So I was very prepared, but
Mhm.
it was still terrifying.
No, of course, but like what an important role that was, for us to kind of really, be able to kind of bring the two main characters back together again. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, the story was very much like a, love story. Like it
Yeah.
was, it really kind of, felt very, important to me from that perspective. And so I kind of want to ask you, another theme that seems to play out really well in this film and in just in all the iterations of this film to date is this idea of human transformation. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what do you feel that people need to take away from this idea of experiencing your truth? That from
I
your
think
personal experience, yeah.
I think that is a big takeaway from the Matrix movies. I think there's so many takeaways from the Matrix movies. What I love about this one specifically is, that love is in the middle of everything, and what happens when, you find love and peace, and especially when Neo and Trinity, what happens when they come together, which is so exciting for me. This movie is a continuation of the first film, and that's very exciting to be a part of. But I truly believe that that's the quest of every human being is,
Yeah.
we spend our whole lives trying to figure out what really is our truth and how affected are we by the people around us or by society or by the world or now by social media.
Mm-hmm.
how what really matters. And I think the Matrix movies really make you think about that in a deep way.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. The moment that they met and, she knew that this was the choice she wanted to make, I felt like I was in a Bollywood movie. Honestly, my heart was pounding at that moment. And I thought, this is kind of this pivotal moment that we all as humans go through, like when we have to make a choice that can dramatically change the course of our lives. You've done that. You've done that in your career many, many times over. And I wanted to ask you this because technology has really changed the game in filmmaking. I mean, especially with the incorporation of AI. You're not new to the sci-fi film, genre of filmmaking. You were in Krish 3, Love Story 2050, and Raw 1. So you are very, very familiar with how intricate the choreography is to be able to make sure that what is translating over is really working. I want to ask you, how was your experience different with making this film with AI also being incorporated from what you've done in the past? What can you share there, Priyanka?
Um, Working on The Matrix was like nothing I've ever seen before. And I've done a lot of movies.
Yes.
But the imagination that it takes, that the movie takes you into, the flight that it takes when it comes to visual effects, and it's a journey like nothing else, and it was so special. I'm a huge fan of VFX. I'm a huge fan of technology, special effects. I'm like a full nerd when it comes to watching how special effects happen, and especially in movies. And while we're filming it with a tennis ball and imagining something happening, when you watch the movie and you see the gravitas of what has been created, I admire that tremendously, and I think technology and film is just going to get bigger and better.
Absolutely. I want to ask you, for those people who have never watched the Matrix movies, why should they watch the Matrix Resurrections?
Well, I think that the Matrix Resurrections is a movie which, through as a part of the franchise, is sort of the bookend of the first movie. But if you haven't seen the franchise, which there are very few people who probably haven't, but if you haven't seen it, I think it's still a movie that you can come into and experience in such a big way. It does have references to the previous movies, but it's a movie on its own as well.
Mhm.
And it's just massive. And I mean, I suggest watching it in the theater. Of course, you can watch it on HBO Max and you can watch it on your TV, but go to the theater and watch this movie if you can. It's a spectacle, and I think it's the best Christmas fun movie that you could probably watch with your family and like have a great time. Come back feeling hopeful, come out feeling happy. So it's really, I would suggest that.
Absolutely. And I've seen it on the big screen and I can attest to everything that you're saying. I had all the emotions that you expect to get from, a production like this, but you go in there thinking, how can they make it better than before? But they did. I mean, it's
Yay.
just tremendous.
Thank
So
you.
for those people, Priyanka, who are real fans of The Matrix and they've watched all of them, how is this one different? I feel you've answered the question, but I just want to encapsulate your thoughts there.
I feel like for fans specifically, this movie has so many Easter eggs and so many little like, things that'll get you really excited about previous plot lines or characters, including mine, that were positioned in the movie for a reason, and then watching them playing pivotal roles in Neo and Trinity's journey. I mean, that's just very cool to me. And I think for the fans, this movie is going to be really, really exciting.
Hmm. What was your favorite portion of the film? Whether you were in it or whether it was just something that you felt, God, this is next level for me
To me,
as a
every
moviegoer,
time,
I guess.
I think to me, every time Neo and Trinity get together, and especially the last like half an hour of the movie, I was at the edge of my seat like this. I was like, oh, it was so yeah. Without giving much away, like that was amazing to me.
It really, really was. Absolutely. Priyanka, I just wanted to, close off by sharing with everyone that, the last time I interviewed you, as I mentioned at the top, was in 2013
My
for
God.
Anokhi magazine when you were just coming into Hollywood. And I asked you this question, and the answer that you gave has just stayed with me all
Oh
these years
God,
now.
what did I say?
No, sweetheart, like it's just it's a game changer, just like you are. I asked you, what would you want to leave as your legacy, and you said three words to me and I'll never forget it: to be undeniable.
Oh
So since
wow.
you've killed that goal, what's the next milestone for you to hit, like, this particular phase of your career and your life where it seems like there is no roof at the top, you're not in any box, like you really have created a legacy for yourself and for South Asians and for women. Like, what does the next phase of your life look like for you?
First of all, I think it looks easier than it probably is. Not just
Mm-hmm.
as a South Asian, but as a woman in Hollywood. Of course, there's a ceiling. There's a ceiling that everyone else makes for you,
Yeah.
and I think it is our job. And I'm not. I'll say that I'm demanding. I'm not someone who, accepts just anything. I
Mm-hmm.
fight for my career. I fight for what I think is right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. And I had to, educate people about seeing people like me
Yeah.
in mainstream Hollywood entertainment, in leading parts, in pivotal roles. Which was very rare when I joined, and we probably had a conversation in 2013. It didn't happen very much,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really become my quest while I'm working in Hollywood. Is first of all I'm also right at the beginning when it comes to working here because I'm just about starting to do the roles that I want to do, and it's taken me almost 10 years of like pounding the pavement and sort of educating and demanding the parts that I want to play. Um, but it's really become a quest of mine, even as a producer, to not just create a path for me, but to, create a Desi community that supports each other in entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
that stands by each other, that
Mm-hmm.
creates, like, I think we really need to stick together and
Yeah.
support each other in whatever endeavors we all take on. And I think that's going to make us stronger together. And I would love to be the shoulders for people to, for people to climb on and get ahead, because I would love for my daughter or my children or our kids in the next generation not to inherit the glass ceilings that were set for
Mm-hmm.
us. So, I think it's a responsibility for all of us to collectively work towards. But I have so much I want to do. I want to build the kind of versatility in my career here that I had built in Bollywood as well. I had the
Mm-hmm.
incredible opportunity of working with some amazing filmmakers, actors. I'm just starting to do that here now. And I'm really excited about this next phase in my life and the projects that I've been working on, and for people to see that.
Absolutely. And I can definitely attest throughout the many years that you have been in, cinema around the world, what you've accomplished, Priyanka, is really a testament to the fact that what was impossible once is now possible today. Thank you so much. You make
Thank you
my
so
heart
much, Raj.
happy. Thank
You
you.
made mine happy. It was lovely speaking to you again. And I
You too,
hope
my
next time
love.
it doesn't take 7 years for us to talk.
Don't forget, guys, the film hits theaters on December the 22nd. And having already seen it in theater, I can personally attest to the need to see it on the big screen, because that larger than life experience is absolutely everything. Trust me, guys, take your family, take your friends and your co-workers, because the film truly is that good. Here's a sneak peek, and I'll see you next time on the Anokhi Uncensored Show.
We can't see it, but we're all trapped inside these strange repeating loops.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious.
But this is the moment for you to show us what is real. I remember this.
deja vu. And yet it's obviously all wrong. Maybe this isn't the story we think it is.
They taught you good. Made you believe their world was all you deserved. But some part of you knew that was a lie. Some part of you remembered what was real.
It's so easy to forget how much noise the Matrix pumps into your head. Something else makes the same kind of noise. War. What happens to Nia?
The most important choice in Neo's life. It's not his to make.
She believed in me. It's my turn to believe in her.
Part of me feels like I have been waiting my whole life for you.
If you want to see Trinity again, fight for her!
I saw this in a dream. My dream ended here.
I still know Kung Fu.